pages and other pieces of content associated with that? Do you regularly attend trade show appearances? What type of flyers and giveaways do you have with that? When we talk about entering the mobile space for business to business, the first foray into mobile should always be to look to enhance your current campaigns. So we're not trying to create brand new pieces of content from scratch. What we're going to do is identify all of our assets and figure out ways of how can we get this and utilize this content for mobile. How do we optimize our current campaigns? How do we optimize these pieces of content to deploy via mobile? And finally, after you reviewed your assets and your campaigns, it's a good time to also review what type of resources you have available. So aside from just budget and dollars, what kind of in-house resources from a technical perspective do you have? What type of partners do you work with? This really shouldn't be a barrier from moving forward at this point, but it's a good point to start thinking about it and considering it, because later down the line it'll affect what type of tactics you decide to deploy. Now that we've considered our goals and we've reviewed our assets, the next step in all of this is understanding our users, knowing who our users are and how they interact with our brand. So if you haven't done so already in the past, this is where personas, for example, are very valuable. And if you also haven't done so in the past, this is also a great point to conduct a little bit of research. Mobile marketing should always have a very user-centered approach. So whether you do qualitative interviews, you run a few surveys, or you have a few focus groups, you want to get a better sense of who your users are and what their needs are. So since we've already taken a look at our assets, how do we relate them back to what our users' needs are? It's all about figuring out what the core needs of our users are. So for example, let's take a look at some things that we may have already in our current set of assets. So let's say we have case studies. Really think about why you have case studies and why you feature them on your website, for example. Why do we even have this? Why do our users need this? If we're talking about case studies, it's really all about social proof. Our customers need that social proof that others out there have the same challenges as they do.